And we're live. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Standard Grind with your host. I'm Goblin Ringleader. Let's just jump right into it. We're in the middle of a match. This didn't work the first time, so I'm gonna hope that this works now. I would like to attack and then pump this up, jumping back out, close this, refresh. This is here.
Refresh.
Okay, this looks better. Mute that. Okay. We feel good about where we are so far. Goblin. Slam this house quite heavy. I'm glad I bottomed the Afterburner Expert, because the Afterburner Expert would have been pretty bad against a main. It's way too slow. We have to just push damage and go wide to try to kill them before they can get their board wipes down, which is going to be tough because they can board wipe starting next turn if they play Day of Judgment. But I think pushing the damage this turn is like the most important thing. So we're just going to go to combat, make a dude, and attack with everything. Yeah. Max speed is really good. The hood never show. Oh my god! We win! Okay. That's awesome. Definitely domain. This kills a besa, but I don't think we really care. Afterburner expert, not where we want to be. And I guess we trim... Not a dropkick, no. Wait, what am I doing? Clicking the wrong cards. It's going to cut a Trigonotics Engineer. If we're cutting the Afterburner experts, the Trigonotics Engineers get much worse. The pain never shows, 'cause it's no stranger to you and me. This is a trap, this hand is bad, you got a mulligan. That hand. I think if I draw double land, this Cranko is amazing. But I have so many threes. I'm on the bottom to 4 to be safe. But if they have a temporary lockdown, I really want this Cranko. This is tough. That can't be right. We can draw 2 lands, but if we don't, we'll just do this. We have 3 looks. And if not, yeah, we can just like draw castables, which is fine. Although double spelling would have been really important, I guess. We're going to see how punished we are by this Cranko. Very punished. Very, very, very punished. Okay, so we're going to play this first section. They're going to temporary lockdown, and then we're going to see whether or not we draw a land off the top. I make these mistakes so you don't have to. You might have to end up... Okay, putting that Cranko on the bottom, but I guess never mind. Don't do that. Why would you do something crazy like that? Because the hurt never shows, but the pain only grows. It's no stranger to you and me. Do-doom, 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 da-dum, I'm feeling calling in the air tonight. Oh no. Do I discard these 2 to make it live? I don't think that's worth it, because I get 2 of the guys back immediately. So these 2 cards are for after board wipes. These 2 cards are pretty good right now, second main. I think I'm fine with this damage. And then we go Grease Wrench, Sear Slicer. If I draw a Lord, I'm in an amazing spot. Okay. Okay. They definitely have a Sunfall. And this is up to? Bounce. Another tap land, eh? Okay. This means Day of Judgment for sure. Yeah. That's good. So now we can just go Screaming Nemesis. Schmacken. Unleash the Schmacken. Grease Wrench the Goblins. And I'll pass. Because it is no stranger to you and me. I can feel it calling in the air tonight. I like this line a lot. Next to combat. These 2 attacks, blocks. They can't block either one if they like their Zer. So now I just go, I'd like to activate this. 0. Damage is good. And then I'd like to sack this, targeting my Screaming Nemesis. Yep. I was just thinking about killing the Zer, but turning off their life gain is really important. Mm-hmm. We might still die here, but we're going to try. Do I want to trade with a Restless Anchorage? I'll bounce with the Zer. That's fine with me, because now they have to Ride's End on their turn. Oh my god, they're going to let my Krenko sit around? They have to kill it in response. What? What? They can exile it with Ride's End. I'll just end the turn. They're going to Ride's End it at the end step. I mean, if they're going to do that, I don't really mind that. Beans good. They lost fine. GG's opponent. They can't beat the Krenko. Wow. Okay, so we figured out how we need to beat Domain. We need to deal damage to our own Screaming Nemesis in order to keep them from gaining life. Be aggressive, chunk them down to a decent life total, and then get them with the Screaming Nemesis. That way, our inevitability of like slow points of damage over time doesn't get outpaced by their huge lifelink swings of the Zer. All right, round 1 win against Domain, which is a really hard matchup. So that felt really good. Okay, deep breath, reset. And that was against the deck that won the Pro Tour, you know? Maybe not exactly that build, but, you know, Domain was like the deck at the Pro Tour, so that makes me feel really good. I think Goblins is probably like Pro Tour level right now. We just have to like get the numbers right, you know, put it in the hands of a really good pilot. I've seen a lot of really cool lists online recently. Players much better than myself are like 7-0ing, 11-0ing with the deck, which just feels amazing. I'll play first. His hand sucks. His hand's a little bit better. I'll bottom one of these things. He's a hungry hippo. Wow. It's been so long since I've had my window open. The fresh air is just so nice. I'll keep it just barely cracked. Okay. Play the grease wrench and I'll pass. It's nice to have some fresh air in the morning. The astronaut's good. They can't even really trade, which is kind of crazy. So they're going to take 3, go to 17. Let's see how bad the wind is. Let me know if you guys... Yeah, it's a droning in the background. I'll close the window. Opponent is going to map on the spyglass to try to find a second land drop. Okay, they have a land. Attack. They're the aggressor, question mark? I don't think so. I think we just play a hasty 1-drop. And we'll play the astronaut. Combat. Opponent probably got the Flip Its Drowner, yeah. Tap down the Grease Wrench. Tap down the Firebrand. Well, Firebrand's just going to sack to kill your Flood Pitch Drowner. The land's probably going to get exiled. It's not a land? That means that there's a higher chance of us drawing a land next turn. Now we get a free attack in. Go up in speed. Nightmare's fine. Discard this Draconautics Engineer that makes a 4/4 for 4 mana. I'm not ever going to do that. Fear of Isolation is a 2/3. That's fine. Not a land. I'm going to go to combat. This thing has Menace. And this thing can kill their Fear of Isolation. So we'll swing with both of these. I can pump the dude with Menace. Sure. I don't have a third land. So that's just a trade. And I think that's okay. They go to 11 and they lose their 2/3. Which for me is big. Because the 2/3 is very good against my deck. I'll play the Seer Slicer. Because I'm going to lose this one if I go to my end step. I get to keep my Horde Master till next turn. And I get to make a guy because I attacked. Now they're going to make me discard. And because I'm playing to drawing a land, I'm going to discard this Bastronaut. Because if I hit my third land drop... Actually, this is a very interesting decision point. Because you can discard the Bastronaut to try to hit your land for Howl Squad Heavy. And that gives you 1 extra dude a turn. However, if we don't get our land, then we can't cast this. So if we hit our land, we can cast both Bastronaut and Horde Master. And if we don't get our land, we just cast Horde Master and hold on to the Bastronaut, which we can always play for the rest of the game, even if we never draw land. So very close decision there. You kind of got to think about, like, what are you trying to prioritize? Are you trying to make sure that you can maximize your ceiling? Or are you saying, well, if I have this bad draw, right, I can still do effective sequencing? Yeah. GG. Okay. Game 2. We're playing against that deck. I don't think Pyroclasm's decent enough. Which Stalker Frenzy is for the green X decks that play Sentinel of the Nameless City plus like bigger toughness creatures. Screaming Nemesis is for the domain matchups, like you saw. Pyroclasm is for like the aggro / go wide matchups, like Convoke and Mice. And Leyline of the Void is for like the Delirium deck. For there's an Omni Show deck in the, or there's like an Omniscience deck in the format. There's like a bunch of graveyard decks that actually are really good right now. People don't really think about. So because playing against Bounce, we really don't want this 2-drop that just doesn't do anything, kind of just sits there. We don't really want the Afterburner Experts. We can do this combo, but it's very slow, and both of these creatures don't have haste. And against this deck, you're just trying to pressure their life total constantly. And I think Baloth, in those situations where they're going to make me discard a card, if I'm looking at a Draconautics Engineer or an Afterburner Expert, and my opponent makes me discard a card, I'd much rather it be a Baloth. Easy mulligan. We're going to struggle. Psych. Play the Hasty Deed because it does the most damage now. Sure. Sacks the Hasty Deed. And Baloth. Ooh, I would love to play one of those. I think we just go Bastronaut, as crazy as this is. Next turn we can go Seer Slicer. Like, this just shows how important this card is. And I'd rather not lose a Seer Slicer or a Horde Master if they have, like, just removal. Fear of Isolation, pick it up. Play Hopeless Nightmare. No Hopeless Nightmare. They probably have an unsummon then. I'll attack, blockers, damage. Play the Slicer, and I'll pass. So now they can make me Edict, but I'm gonna sack a 1/1. Unless they kill my 1/1 for 1 mana and then play this at the Edict, then I'd probably sack the Bastronaut. Because they're probably, if they have that sequence, they're gonna attack with the Fear. Yeah, so they're gonna, or they could just have double Momentum Breaker. Not being aggressive, they're holding up removal. I think I just slam a Howl Squad. They're gonna kill this or bounce it. But then I still get to attack with my Bastronaut. The Bastronaut's unblockable. I make a token with the Seer Slicer. They have to bounce it now. And I still get to do this thing. Rev up the engine. Shifting gears. Now I make a token. I really like the idea of them making me discard. Like, if they just top deck a Hopeless Nightmare and they're like, yeah, Kaido's fine. I'm not scared of Kaido. What are they going to do? Uptick? Yep, they'll surveil. They only have 1 blocker, though. Doesn't my Bastronaut just kill it? Okay, we hit our 4th land, which is really good. We can go Horde Master. That's 2. Then we'll go to combat. We'll swing this one and this one. Do I even need to attack with this 2/2? Not really. I mean, I could just hold these cards. I could pump this. This is 3. I guess we kill the Kaido straight up. They can block however they want. They're going to trade with the Seer Slicer, and that's fine, because then I get to go, here's my other Seer Slicer. And I also got to do is just block the 2/2, because they're scared of like a Monstrous Rage or something. But instead, they're like, make them have it. And they're right to do that. They take no damage, so I don't go to max speed. but I do get a death trigger. And I'll play a Sear Slicer. Because the Lord is better next turn anyways. Now they Gix's command. And it's a clean wipe. I'll sack a 2/2. Death trigger. Haste deed. One type of keep draw. We could play Howl Squad here, but I want to cast these cards out of exile. Make sure I get my value out of them. So we'll play the Lord. They can counter it, I guess, if they play counters. Firebrand. Go to combat. They've shown me a flash creature. Enduring Curiosity is like the only thing I'm really scared about. So we're not going to play into that. Flash in your 4/3 opponent and trade. I think they could do it. They're trying to figure out if it's worth it to just take the damage and then try to attack next turn. But it's not going to work because the Sear Slicer is going to make an extra chump blocker. And so no matter what they do, I can kind of just like throw stuff in front of what they need to attack with. Because they could flash in an Enduring Curiosity, untap, activate Soul Sanctuary, have 2 attackers. They could try to draw cards, but it's not really going to be helpful. Trade with one of them, take 2, go to 11, go to max speed, and I get a death trigger. They are 2 death triggers. They get a death trigger as well. Okay, those cards are good. Play a Bastronaut. This one's got double strike as well. So we got 2 3/3s with Menace and double strike, and 2 3/3 vanillas. And we have another Lord coming down next turn. Slam the Lord, make sure I get value. Combat. Would like to attack. Just doing my thing. I mean, opponent probably misclicked and forgot to tap something down. Huh? Interesting. They might not have counted, or they're just doing everything that they can. They're probably just doing everything that they can. Yeah. GG's opponent. Well played. The fact that I can pump the Bastronaut, so this is 8, 9, once I pump it, to whichever one they don't block. Very strong. Okay. 2-0. Deck feels great. The board plan feels really good. Okay. Season just reset. Hell yeah, let's do it. Okay. So I think that the game of like Afterburner Expert Draconautics Engineer might not even be like the way that we win most of our games. That might be like the super ultra mega grindy backup game plan. Because most of these games that I'm winning, I'm like bottoming the Afterburner Experts. This hand might be different though. Nah, we need to be able to keep our castables, especially if we're playing up against. Yeah, I want both my Firebrands here for sure. Although now I want a 2/4/2, but you can't always get what you want. I would like to kill your Heartfire hero. That's fine. Next turn I can go Firebrand plus 2/1. Emberheart Challenger. Hired Claw. Okay, I can't kill that with a Firebrand. There's something I can kill with a Firebrand. Beautiful. So what we'll do is we'll go Firebrand. Ping this one. Play the Bastronaut. Rev my engines, pass the turn. Shift into first gear. Razorkin, okay, so it's slow burn. I got no issue with slow burn. Thankfully, we don't really draw cards. Kind of just want to lord here. Whale. We'll go land, goblin, play both our dudes. It's not really worth it to pump. Next turn, I can start like really applying a lot of pressure. So shift into second gear. Murder? Sounds like a murder to me. Yeah, burst lightning. I'm actually happy with that. I'd rather than burst lightning the grease wrench, even though it would let me like discard the land in my hand. I'd rather than burst lightning that than my face. No blocks. We're just racing at this point, honestly. I can deal 4 on the crackback. They're gonna deal 5, including the draw. 6. Okay. Now we outpace them. I'm pretty sure now we got this. So we got House Squad Heavy. Go to combat. Attack. No attacks. Nah, we race. We race. 16-9. I have a 2-3. Murder. I think Screaming Nemesis is just amazing here. Just good old-fashioned lightning strike. Okay, I've gained a lot of life. My creatures have gained me a lot of life. So I'll be taking 6 here. I go to 3. And if they have Monstrous Rage, that's just the game. Good game. What? Yeah, see, that's what I was like, I swear I did this math right. So this is the reason that we bring in, we kind of want 5 cards here. Now we cut all the Afterburner Experts and a Draconautics Engineer. We just run it like that. Easy board. We just bring in removal for the cards that don't have haste and don't block well. Draconautics Engineer is really cool, but the issue with it is you have no abilities unless you invest more mana. So it's a 3 mana 3/3, which is fine, but getting to turn 3 is really hard against an aggro deck. And then Afterburner Expert is a 4/2, so it dies to Burst Lightning and it dies to the Razorkin's First Strike. So it's not really going to be an effective blocker the way we need it to be. These are 2 duds, but if we flood, it's going to be actually great as a blocker. We'll still start it out aggressive because they could stumble, and then we just go like, here's this, here's this. Yeah, Lord. Attack. We want them to race. We want them to overextend into this Pyroclasm. Land's gone, that's fine. Another Goblin. So in this spot, we save this until we absolutely need it. We can just go Grease Runs Pump. I think I just like playing both these creatures here. And then attack. Challenger's good. And now we go land, combat, get our point to damage in. We're at max speed, pyroclasm, and Draconautics. Next turn we can make a dragon. Dragon. That's fine. Which Stalker's Frenzy? Yep. I was gonna say if they have Monstrous Rage, they just swing into it. Grease Wrench. Go to combat. Attack for 4 in the air. I'll end. Another Heart Fairy. We don't have to worry about Monstrous Rage at all. They can attack if they want, but I'll trade 1,000 million times over. Go to mine. Yeah, if I draw land, now I can go activate, pitch this to draw. See, and that's a good card. Play the Bastronaut. Attack for 4 in the air. So, like, in this scenario, Draconautics Engineer was amazing. But, like, if they're more aggressive and they have, like, 1 extra creature, after that point, we're in a really tough spot. If we don't have, like, a 3-drop that makes tokens or a Krenko. This is a really good draw. It's got double strike. So what I can do is I can go combat, swing, hold back the 3/2. No. Push the damage. Yeah, they block there. Pump. This is 6-10. GG's. Good game, opponent. Well played. So now we just got to make sure that we have probably 2 interactive, or we want 2 sideboard cards in our opener. So that game was just barely good enough because we were able to like race our opponent in the early game, force them to flood the board, and then Pyroclasm when they made blocks or when they made attacks that offered blocks that traded. I was able to like trade off my creature to fog some damage. I guess I fogged some damage is what I did. I didn't trade. And then the Pyroclasm cleaned the board, and the Draconautics Engineer just took over. This is an example of how you lose. This is a better hand. Bottom. These are all really 2 mana. We don't really need Cavern in this matchup. Yeah, if this was a Pyroclasm, it'd be a lot better. Okay. Did we just pass? Yep. This will still not be enough. Okay, now we can kill it when it attacks, which is kind of crazy. Last turn, I guess we should have played one of these. But I was hoping they'd go Emberheart Challenger, so that's what it was. If we played another blocker, they would have done this. That's fine. I would like to Witchstalker's Frenzy, the one that's gigantic. Monstrous Rage, the Emberheart Challenger, in response, Valiant trigger. Powerless trigger. 6/7 coming through? No. Okay. Yeah. They're thinking about whether or not it's worth it. Okay, this is 5 then. 1. I'm very dead. Just thinking. I guess if we would have gotten down a blocker earlier, I could have like threatened to trade with the manifold mouse. But now I just died to a burst lightning or a lightning strike. Good game. Well played, opponent. So aggro is, I guess, one of our... Usually it's like an okay matchup for us. There's definitely ways that they can go underneath us. So that specifically was a spot where Wishstalker's Frenzy is not as good as Pyroclasm. So let me see if I can... I'll just flip-flop, see if this feels a little bit better. Two Wishstalker's Frenzy, 3 Pyroclasm. Because there's probably going to be more matchups where I want a Pyroclasm than I want a Wishstalker's Frenzy. Even though Wishstalker's Frenzy is really good against aggro, sometimes it is just one more mana to cast than you have. And against the decks that like Frenzy's really, really good, you're going to be on turn 3 or turn 4 when you cast it anyways. Whereas against the aggro deck, you kind of want that Pyroclasm because it can like be a 4-for-1, right? Let me see. Sounds pretty bad. This is much better. Bottom the land. Play the Grease Wrench, pass it over. We're going to go Sear Slicer to one of these 2 on 3. Looks like Domain. Swinging. So against Domain, there's 2 things that we look for. Is do they have a main deck temporary lockdown? And do they have untapped lands all the way up the curve? If they have tapped lands, it's not great for them. Untapped lands mean removal. I think I binned that 3rd land, but it was a mountain. So it probably doesn't matter. Play a Horde Master as a Lord. Swing for 8. Get lost. Yeah. Land off the top. Not a land. Okay, that increases my chances of getting a land next time. Make my guy back. Lockdown. Yep. So now we really want... We have this if we don't draw land, but we really want a Cavern. Verge is pretty much just as good as Cavern. We're going to go... Here's my Firebrand and my 2/2. Going to attack. If we hit a land next turn, we can go Afterburner plus give it haste. Or if we don't hit a land, we can go Draconautics Engineer, give it haste. They're building up to their Sunfall. Okay. So we got the land. So we're going to be able to go Afterburner. Haste. Combat. 8. Put you to 4. Rides and Exiles, okay. Beza, go back up to 12. Make 2 dudes. Tap land. So they didn't have the 5th land untapped for the Sunfall, so instead they did that. Goblin. Already given it haste, so I can't make the dragon with haste. I'm going to hold this one. We're going to go to combat. Not going to attack. That's sad. Yeah, we kind of have to just hope that this dragon's going to stick around. Overlords? Ugh, they can trade with the dragon now, which is really tough. Pass to attacks. In response. That way this whole turn can just go. Go to mine. Land. Oh my god. So 2 to cast, 4 to make. We don't have enough to make another dragon and give it haste. We need 1 more mana for that. What I can do is I can shoot a 2/1. I can go to combat, and I can attack for 4 in the air. They chump, and I'll pass. They can either Sunfall here, or just go Zur, activate Zur, make Overlord a creature, attack for a 7/7 with a lot of stuff. Rides in the tokens, okay. Swings. Feels like they have a lot of good stuff if they're attacking, definitely. Really wish we didn't, or we still had that Afterburner, not exiled. It's not a land. So we go Grease Wrench. Chump. Play the Grease Wrench and I'll pass. Binding the Grease Wrench. Okay. I'll submit 0. Just want to use my mana. Another Overlord, okay. So now the land Hasty Dragon plan doesn't even work. Their last card's probably a Zur. And they're probably just waiting to hit another land so they can go Zur, double activate, basically win the game. It's not a land. So we can go Draconautics, but we can't activate. We can give it haste. We can pump it. The menace means it has to be double blocked. I think we don't have the ability to play around a Sunfall anymore. I think we kind of have to just go for it. Start pushing damage because they're not blocking with this Beza, which is good for us. Double block there. It's fine. I'll activate this to pump. That damage is okay. They're at 10. Yep. This makes sense. No blocks, I'll die. GG's. Okay, so sideboarding. We bring in 3 Screaming Nemesis. Maybe the Witch Stalkers. Not Pyrophasm. So we bring in 3 Screaming Nemesis thinking about the Witch Stalkers. We're definitely going to cut the Afterburner Experts. We could trim a Draconautics and then fit the Witch Stalkers in. These cards just aren't aggressive enough. I kind of like a 2-2 split. 2-2. I guess if we have to keep one, we keep the Draconautics because it gives the Krenko haste worst case scenario. And it makes a 4-4. I don't think Witch Stalkers on average is worth it. It's good against Zur specifically, but with Screaming Nemesis, we can keep them from gaining life. What can't this hit? This can't hit an Overlord of the Miss Mars. It can hit almost everything else, but it can't. Yeah, it's really close. You could bring in the Witch Stalker's Frenzy if you're scared of Zur, but I think that we have to be more aggressive. We have to just like push damage and just try to win the game before they can do that. So that's great. 1 land and 3 draws. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. And these are our after board wipe cards. Hey, thank you so much, Lucas. Thank you for dropping in. That means a lot to me. Yeah, it's streaming every day on YouTube. We're trying to grind. We just hit 1,000 subscribers before MagicCon. That was the goal, and somehow the community answered the call. So we're making YouTube shorts every day. We're streaming every day. we're putting goblin videos up every day. If you like goblins content, please smash that subscribe button. Really appreciate you watching. We're going to the top. We're trying. I want to take goblins to the Pro Tour, so we're going to be grinding every day. Around this time, I play goblins from Pauper all the way to Legacy, and I even play EDH. So let me see what we got here. We could play a Lord, push damage. I'm really going to lose to the temporary lockdown that's coming down next turn. But there's a world where they don't have temporary lockdown. And in that world, I kind of want to put double Bastronaut into play. If they kill my Horde Master and I lose the land on top, I'm going to be pretty sad. So I think I'm just going to go double Bastronaut. If they go like some unimpactful spell, then I can just go Lord and then swing for almost lethal. And I know they'll board wipe on the following turn, but I'm not really that scared of that. Yeah, so they get lost to Seer Slicer because they're scared of the damage now. They probably have the temporary lockdown. They don't, but they'll have a Sunfall next turn. We do have a land, so we can crack a map on a Bastronaut. Draw another land that's going to be good for next turn. Play a Horde Master. This is just to maximize my damage right now. Got them to 6. Day of Judgment's fine. We'll get a billion death triggers. And I think we win this one. I take it back. I take it back. We don't win this one. So if I had one more hasty creature, we'd be in a great spot. As is, I just got to slam this Krenko and pass. Yeah, goblins are your favorite? That's awesome. Goblins are my favorite creature type too. I found a long time ago that Magic is just more fun if you give yourself a stipulation. You're like, I have to do this. And like, I was a long time Modern gamer, and I started with goblins in Modern. My first real deck was Bushwhacker back in like 2016, 2017. And oh my god, I fell in love with goblins. And one day I just woke up and I decided all I wanted to do in every format for the rest of time is goblins, because I think that it's just such a fun game. Like such a fun gameplay pattern. Sorry. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go Hollow Squad Heavy gives everything haste. Then we're gonna go Grease Wrench Goblin, tap the Krenko, make 3 guys, all of them have haste, make another dude, everybody attack. It's not lethal somehow. So maybe this was a misplay. We'll see. Now they Sunfall. Ride's End is not Sunfall. Now they Sunfall. I mean, temporary lockdown. But yeah, I just fell in love with like the way that like Goblins has such crazy combat math, like all of the crazy like synergy that the deck has. Like almost all the Goblins have some crazy levels of synergy that aren't really there on any other type of card. Sorry, I'm talking so much. Like, I remember the first time I read Goblin Ringleader, which of course is the inspiration for this channel. And I remember reading it and being like, wait, it just picks all the Goblin cards and puts them in your hand? I remember thinking how busted that was. And back before the One Ring was banned, I was playing up against a lot of ring decks. And I would like tutor for my Goblin Ringleader. I'd cast my Goblin Ringleader and I'd draw 4 cards. And my opponent would be there like with their ring in hand. And next turn they'd cast their ring and they'd draw 1 card. And then like, it was just so funny to be like, yeah, here's my Ringleader. This is my ring. And it draws 4 sometimes. It was just so awesome. Such a great experience. And so, yeah, I love goblins. All the goblins. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. The Grease Wrench Goblin on 1 into Lord into Howl Squad Heavy is going to be very good. Screaming Nemesis hopefully can, after a Day of Judgment, push in for some extra damage. Play another Lord. All attacks. A Smite. Sure. Smite's fine. They only have 5 cards left. Quite new to MTG, but the Goblins call. That's awesome. Yeah, so Bushwhacker was a deck back in the day where you pay, it's a 1 mana 1/1, but you can pay an additional red to give it something called Kicker, which is like an additional cost. And you give all goblins or all creatures you control +1/+1 in haste. So you'd make like a bunch of tokens. Do I want to die to another Elspeth Smite? I think I don't care. Yeah. So you would like play a bunch of like Burning Tree emissaries, or like that was like the deck in its good form. What I would do is I'd go like, here's my 1-drop, turn 2, play 2 more 1-drops, turn 3, go a 1-drop and kick a Bushwhacker. And I got so tired of losing to Pyroclasm that I shifted from that build to a Goblin Matron for Goblin Ringleader build. And I just fell in love with like slow, inevitable damage. And that's the beautiful thing about goblins is you can find something that you love and you can build around it. And because there's so many goblins, you can build the deck however you want. So we have the combo here, Screaming Nemesis plus Firebrand, but I don't know if we want to do it now. Probably just do it now. Deal 2 to my Firebrand. I would like to do this. And then like to shoot your face for 2, put you to 15. Attack, attack, attack. I mean, if they block, the damage still comes through, and they can double block my Howl Squad Heavy, but then they take 7. I think I'm okay with them double blocking on the Howl Squad. I still get to draw a card. This allows me to maximize the damage to them. They can't gain life because I already hit them with the Screaming Nemesis trigger. List for Pioneer? Yeah, 1000%. So I'm going to tab out. Let me know if you can still see my screen. Oh, no. I clicked on mtga. I'm going to tab out. Let me see if you can still see my screen. Flexslot.gg. So I don't know. Oh, God. Did I break it? So if you go to flexslot.gg and you look up Goblin Ringleader, I have all my decks and a couple old sideboard guides I have to update. Everything's for free, of course. Pioneer Goblins. This is the deck that I'm going to be playing coming up. And this is the list. If you want to like check it out, 1000%. The new additions are the Howl Squad Heavies and the Firebrands. I went undefeated at my Pioneer locals recently, and it was a lot of fun. Okay, back to the game. I think we just go Firebrand plus Dropkick Bomber. Push, put him to 7. Max speed, and I'll pass. If that helped, let me know. If it didn't help, let me know. I can like run through the list a little bit more after this match, but all my deck lists are on FlexSlot, and I try to keep them updated. And it's funny because I tell my opponents when I play them at NRGs and like big tournaments, I'm like, the list is public. I post it all the time. Like you can go on my FlexSlot and you can always find my deck lists. And so it's like a little like Easter egg, Can you beat me? I'm gonna give you all the information. Can you still beat me? Howl Squad plus Lord is so good. So I think what I'm gonna do, they're at 7. We're gonna hold these 2 back. We're gonna play this one. Go to combat. Binding the Howl Squad, okay. That's fine. We'll attack for 4, put you to 3. No? Okay. Exile the... So you just take 1, go to 6. Now I'll play the Grease Wrench. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry. I did see your email. I forget what I was doing. Oh, it was probably during MagicCon. I think I remember opening it and being like, yes, I need to put because at that point, I hadn't put the new Aether Drift cards in the deck yet. I did that this Tuesday. Yeah, so this current week, Tuesday. And so I think I forgot to send that email. I'm sorry. This is very bad for us. We can go Lord, Pump, but that doesn't punch through. I think we just have to no attacks, end the turn. Hope they don't draw Sunfall. Even if they draw Sunfall, they can't really cast it. They hit their things, and I can get a bunch of death triggers. If I draw a land, I can just filter it away. The attack with the Overlord of the Mistmoors. I think going to 14 is fine. No. Let's pass to blockers. Block here. Block. Before damage, sack, shoot a flyer. I get a death trigger. Okay. Lord is really good. Damage is fine. I fizzled it. Removal. Probably another creature if they sandbagged it. Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Boom. I think I'm fine with that. Let's go to mine. We drew the land. Can we kill them? No, because they have a flyer. Very interesting. And then I'm gonna make 2 more flyers next turn, which is really interesting. So we start off with the Dropkick Bomber. That's 6 in the air. We can go. Oh my god. If we jump it, they block it, and it still dies, even though it has more toughness because of the jumping clause. So what I think I need to do is I need to just discard this cavern, put a counter on it. Okay, we've got the land out of the way. That's good. Play the land, go to combat. Oh my god, this is so bad. I think we block. We'll end the turn. Beans is fine. Okay, they gotta get lost. Yeah, that's fine. I'm really glad that I didn't trade this for the 2-1 now. Oh, Screaming Nemesis would have been so good. Okay. Attacks are fine. Now the chump block doesn't do anything. They have 3 more blockers. Or 2 more blockers, 3 total if we don't include this. If we just count flyers. This is 12. I think we have to take it. Go to mine. Another land. So we'll map here. Another land. Then we'll map here. Okay, it's a 1-drop. All seriousness, I believe we die. We go block, block, take lethal. Good game, opponent. Well played. Really close match versus Domain. The Overlord's coming in clutch, just being able to just slam value into play. But that's why the deck won the Pro Tour, honestly. I think that we might... No, because even if we got more aggressive, we would have lost the Screaming Nemesis off the top. So it's really, really close. So that was 4 rounds. We're going to do 1 more, I believe. Let me check the time. How long have we been recording? 58? Yeah, exactly. So we're going to do 1 more match. Then we'll be jumping back to Brawl. We're going to be playing some General Creat. If you don't know what General Creat is, it's basically Impact Tremors and Rabble Master stapled together, and it's a legend. So I don't know if you like that, but it sounds like fun to me. This sounds great. We get to go turn 1, Firebrand, ping. Turn 2, if we draw another 1-drop, we can go Bastronaut 1-drop, or we can go Sear Slicer on 2, ping, make a dude. The following turn, double spell and we'll be out of cards in our hand, but they'll be at like 16 and we'll have a billion goblins. And 95. Is that a reference to something I'm being on your face? Attack for 1. Shout out to the fact, oh, I see that in your list you don't have to use Legion Warboss or Goblin Rabble Master. Why are they more on aggro? Are they more on aggro? So I think that a lot of lists are more aggressive because they want to make sure that they can close the game before like the more grindy mid-range decks take over. But I have this opinion that Goblins is the best grindy mid-range deck. Like we have access to Krenko, and so specifically, if you're talking about Pile Driver, I think that Legion Warboss and Rabble Master are great in Pioneer Goblins. I saw the list that that my friend, I reposted it on Twitter. The guy who took Goblins, the Pioneer Goblins list, I think it was to like top 8 at Portland, or it was in SCG, but that list was much more aggressive. It played Agathas, it played a bunch of other types of things. Play this here, sizer. I'm of the opinion that the Chain Whirler call to the Death Dweller package is really important right now. There's a lot of like big mana decks. There's a lot of like Nykthos isn't a thing anymore, but there's a lot of decks that like establish a really early board, and you need to be able to like clear it away as fast as possible. And like the Fable Call of the Death Dweller Chain Whirler package is a lot of 3s, and I think that you can play Legion Warboss and Rabble Master, and that will allow you to have a lot of curves where you go, here's my Legion here's my Legion Loyalist on 1, my Pile Driver on 2, and my Rabble Master on 3. Then I get an attack trigger. Go to combat, make the dude 3 attackers. You get an attack trigger from both your Legion Loyalist and your Pile Driver. Their Pile Driver is attacking for 4 or 5 by itself. Then you have the additional 1 and 2, so that's 7 on turn 3. I think that's like a good curve. It's a really good like sequence, but I really like the curve of going Skirk Prospector on 1 into Fable on 2. Then on turn 3, you take up your Fable to 2, you discard your Chain Whirler, and then you call it back. You have a 3 mana, 3/3 with First Strike and Death Touch, and then you also Plague Wind your opponent's board. So it depends on what you like play patterns wise. I personally think that the more aggressive route is good, but I don't like how it loses out to like the more. So it probably has like the same amount of resiliency to board wipes, but you're going to lose in the aggressive deck versus the other aggressive decks that just go faster and establish a board presence. Also, I really don't like losing to flyers because there's a traditional weakness that goblins have with how do we deal with some giant fly. Call of the Death Dweller Chain Whirler is like the best way to just clear your opponent's board, and it allows you to win most of the aggro matchups. Actually, in November, when I got 12th at the NRG 5K for Pioneer, I played Adam Weiss, who went to, I think he went to the Pro Tour, and he went to, I think he qualified for Worlds. But I could be wrong. I know he won an RC, a regional championship, and I played him round 1 at the NRG 5K, and the only way I was able to beat him, he had triple slick shot and he had a bunch of pump spells in his hand, was because I was able to call back my Chain Whirler and one-sided board wipe. So I think that it depends on what you're playing to. I really like the ability to like crush my aggro opponents and then like just play to the fact that my deck has grind ability, like late game ability. Whereas you could play towards the aggro matchup, but then you have a less good chance of crushing your aggro opponents. It's more of like a coin flip. And I don't know, personal opinion, but sorry, that's me ranting. I really appreciate you listening. I play Pioneer with Chamberlain and Touch of Moonglove. I don't see Call. Okay. Yeah, so Call of, yeah, I was going to say, Touch of the Moonglove's great because you get to like just win, right? You kill your opponent. But the, wait, was I just slow rolling them? I just played my other 2 dudes and, well, that was dumb of me. The Touch of the Moonglove is nice. I really like the Call of the Death Dweller also having a dual purpose of just being like your Unearth. Being able to bring back a 1-drop and a 2-drop, and then put like the Menace counter on your 2-drop and the Death Touch counter on your 1-drop. is really strong. There is like a huge difference between 1 and 3, so I can understand if you don't want to play Call, but I really like the synergy that Call and Fable have together, because you can just like pitch your Chain Whirlers and bring them right back. And like Touch of the Moonglove's great, because sometimes versus Invoke or decks that go super wide, you just touch your Chain Whirler, touch to the Moongloove your Chain Whirler, and your Chain Whirler wins the game by itself. Sorry, opponent. Talking to chat. So they're going to go Overlord of the Flood Pits, try to draw as many cards as they can, and they'll pass. Go to mine. Looks like they would discard 1 card. Yeah, Call of the Death Dweller is the name of the card. I really enjoy it. Just play a Lord. I feel so bad. Opponent, I slow rolled you for like 10 million years. I'm so sorry. Okay. -20. Perfect. So we won the next game too. Domain. Bring in the Screaming Nemesis. Witch Stalkers, and it's not worth it. Take out the Afterburner Experts and a Draconautics. Run it like that. Yeah, because, and that's kind of like the pivot that I made back then too, was I love aggro goblins, and I wish it was better. Like in Standard, it's amazing, and in Pioneer, it's like pretty close. You're still playing the aggressive package, but your 3-drops are all like control cards, where your opponent can play like removal on 1 and 2 to kill your aggressive threats, and then you're just sitting there and you're like, that's fine. I'll play a Fable. I'll play a Call to bring back my 1 and my 2-drop that you killed. Like, it's just like such a good deck. And then on 4, you play Goblin Ringleader and you potentially draw 4. Or you draw 0 and you put 4 bad cards in the bottom of your library. Because once you get to 4 lands, you don't really want another one. And the deck gets really crazy when you start copying your Chain Whirler with your Fable, or you start copying your Pile Driver with your Fable, or you start copying your Lord with your Fable, and you get crazy death triggers. The deck has so much late game, it's insane. Lush Portico. But it's also, it could be a mana-based consideration too. If you don't want to spend money, or if you don't want to like take out the slots to play another color, then you might not want to play Rakdos. You could just play mono red. There's like pros and cons to both, right? Like if you're playing mono red, then Rabble Master and Legion War Boss are much better. But if you're playing Rakdos, I think that like the more grindy cards are a little bit better, because you won't like straight up concede to a board wipe. Even though War Boss and Rabble Master give you like that alternate threat where you can immediately rebuild, it's close. It's really close. This is the hand. This is the game that we lose for sure. We don't have a 2-drop on 2. We're gonna play like a Howl Squad next turn and an attack for 2. It's not good. Not where we want to be. No, never apologize. 1000%. I'm happy that we can communicate. It's amazing that you can understand me and we're speaking a different language, right? Like big respect to you for being a goblin. Thank you for being a part of a horde. That's what I call the group of goblins, right? We're all one big goblin horde, just loving goblins and having fun. Play the Howl Squad. Of course, anytime that you want to talk, anytime you have any questions, chat's always open. I'll be streaming every day. You can always ask me questions about goblins. It's literally what I live for. What was I going to say? Yeah, I think Pioneer Goblins is really good right now. Like in like the tiers, I think Pioneer is the best. Then it goes Legacy, then it goes Standard, and then it goes Modern. Like Pauper's in there somewhere, right? But I think that in terms of like the best that the deck feels in the format, Modern is just really bad because Boros energy in Modern has been so good for so long. People are already playing Pyroclasm consistently. So I think that like Modern Goblins is really hard to get wins in. And then it's a little bit easier in other formats. Legacy is so much fun because you have all the goblins. Pioneer is fun because we have like the old school goblins like Pile Driver and Ringleader. We also have the newer goblins. And the cool thing about Pioneers, our opponents don't really have like all the tools they need to answer these cards. So they're definitely going to untap and Sunfall to like try to deal as much damage as possible. Just play Grease Wrench, play Dropkick, make a dude, and attack. Put them to 5. They can Sunfall, but then we go Screaming Nemesis, and we're kind of okay. And never, yeah, no worries. Never apologize for your grammar. 1000%. I think that, you know, like, oh my god, what is that? Each player who controls the most creatures investigates. Okay, so I get a treasure. I mean, a clue. I get a clue. I'm gonna go Screaming Nemesis. Nemesis. They're gonna Rides End it, or yeah, Rides End. Get Lost is fine too. I'll play this Grease Wrench Goblin that hopefully can single-handedly kill you. Fingers crossed. Yes! You went 3-1 in a local with my list. Yes! Doctor, I shake your hand. Thank you so much for playing it. That means a lot to me. I work really hard on those lists. And so, yes. The fact that you're getting success means that it's not like just a fluke, right? For me, it means that like the work that I did on it means something. And so thank you for playing it. Honestly, I'm glad you're finding success with it. Opponent 3-1 is amazing too. Opponent went Overlord, make 2 2-1s. They don't just die now. Did I not crack this last turn? I'm a silly, silly man. We're going to crack the map on the Grease Wrench. Howl Squad's amazing. Then we're going to crack a map on a Grease Wrench. We kind of want to make it so that they double block this. Next to combat. Just choose no blocks. Damage is fine. What? Opponent's like, no. Actually, no. That's fine. Damage is okay. Crack this. Pass it over. They're probably going to play a Zur. If they play Zur, it's crazy. Hmm. 16. Overlords. Okay, they have 1 blocker. Billion cards in hand. Howl Squad gives everything haste. Besides itself. I can go... Here's a Lord. Combat. Swing the 2-2 into the 6-5. Draw a card. Boom. Okay. Next turn we're in a really good spot. If we hit a land, we can go hasty 4/4 in the air. They're gonna hit the Howl Squad before the end step. They take the Lord, so they're not scared of the Howl Squad at all. That tells me they have a Zur. Oops. Or another Leyline Binding. So Leyline Binding, double trigger beans. Twice. I think this game is over. Over. Show me the Zur. Yep. Good game, opponent. Well played. Yeah, they almost have enough mana to triple activate Zur too, which is insane. Well played, opponent. Yeah, and this is why the deck won the Pro Tour, honestly. Wait, I won game 1? No way. We're going to game 3? Jesus Christ. Okay. I think everything stays the same. Trigonotics is decent. Afterburner's decent. What if we just try trimming 1, 2, and like a 1-drop? Let me try that board plan instead. My province, no, plays goblins. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, shout out to Italy. Shout out to Italy. Where specifically? What's your province in Italy? I'd love to shout you out. That's amazing. I'm so happy that we have a goblin in Italy. Like, you're like the goblin in Italy. Straight up. That's amazing. We need to spread the horde far and wide because everybody can play goblins. It's such a fun deck. Sand's okay. We're gonna bottom this one we can't cast right now. Also, I will say, because you're the only one who plays goblins, you'll have an edge because people don't play it against it a lot. So they'll be like, "Wait, what does that do?" And you probably get a lot of wins that people don't expect. Play the 2/2. Next turn I can go land, Sear Slicer, give it haste. Cavern on Goblin. I mean, if they have an untapped white source, we just super lose to temporary lockdown. And I kind of want to play around that. So we'll just go Lord Firebrand. Swings 15. Temporary lockdown still messes up my day. Yep. But that's fine. Because we have the Screaming Nemesis. And then we have the Sear Slicer after the Screaming Nemesis, so we can start rebuilding a board. I'd like to make a Goblin deck for standard, but I do not have any wild cards. The best way to get wild cards is to either open packs. Like it's really frustrating. You have to either buy packs or earn them through like challenges or something. Or you could buy the wild cards directly from Wizards, which also feels very much so wrong. It's like they're ripping you off. Or you could just like draft the way that I think is the best way to get wild cards is to use your coins that you earn from challenges for drafts, and then do drafts over and over again, and eventually at the end of the draft you'll win a certain number of packs, and so that way you're earning cards from your collection from drafting while at the same time earning packs with the gems or the coins that you invest into the draft. So I would try to find a draft that's like the cheapest draft you can do and just get really good at that set draft. And that way you can get a bunch of cards from that set. And then when you finish the draft, you'll get packs. And if you do that enough, eventually you'll own all of the set. And then when you get packs, they'll give you gems back. And then it's a very slow thing, but you'll get enough gems where then you'll be able to buy more drafts. And so you kind of have to play a lot of arena, but you have to use your challenges to get coins, which then your coins will allow you to do drafts, and your drafts will give you cards in the draft, but also packs that you can then open for wild cards. So it's hard. The best way to get wild cards, if you have unlimited money, is to just buy packs in bulk. You can spend $100 to give you a bunch of packs, and you'll get enough wild cards from that to build a deck. The issue is you have to spend $100 to get enough packs to justify it. Whereas the draft method, right, you don't really need to put a lot of money into it. You probably have some coins or gems laying around. And if you don't, you can just complete your challenges to get there. Sorry, opponent. And yeah, so I would say wild cards are really hard to get on Arena, but that's the two ways that I would go about it. Is I would either, if money's not an issue, you buy packs in bulk. If money is an issue, which it always is, for me too, there's a reason that I play goblins, right? I love them, But it's also the fact that I kind of want to show people that you can win playing anything, right? Like people loved to diss goblins for a very long time. And they would always make fun of me for playing goblins. They'd be like, why do you play goblins in modern? Why do you play goblins in these different formats? And to me, it's just it's first off what I love to do. I love to play the goblins, but it's also like kind of like that you want to prove them wrong. And I want to show people that they can, as long as they love something, they can win with anything, honestly. Definitely not going to win this game, and that's totally fine. But yeah, no, that would be the best way that I'd get the wild cards. It's frustrating and it's time consuming and it doesn't feel like right. It kind of feels like it should be easier than that. It feels like they should give them away a little bit more often. But yeah, just cracking packs or drafting are the two best ways to do it. But again, I don't recommend cracking packs. I would use the same coins or gems that you would use to crack the packs on a draft, and then just try to build a good draft deck, have fun playing draft, and then at the end, depending on how many wins you get a certain amount of gems and coins back and a certain amount of packs. But if you really hate draft, it's going to be hard. You're going to have to buy packs or buy the wild cards directly, which is such a feel bad. It's nice to have the option to buy the wild cards directly, but it doesn't feel good to have to buy the wild cards directly or buy packs, which are indirectly you just buying the wild cards. No. No such thing as stupid questions. The only thing what is it? There's a saying, I really enjoy it. There's no such thing as stupid questions, only stupid answers. That's it. So never apologize for asking questions. Clarification is how we learn. So yes, I have played against Domain for three matches in a row. Or this might be the end of the second match, but you're predicting the future. I think I might play it again next match. Which is good because I kind of need experience versus this. I think my round 1 opponent didn't have main deck temporary lockdown, and this opponent does, which is the reason why I won that match and I'm losing this one. Excuse me. But it might be 3. I'll have to go back. I know out of my 5 matches, 3 of them have for sure been Leyline Binding matchups. But that's the fun of going back and watching the VODs is I just play the games, right? I've played so many formats. I kind of just let the cards fall. I don't really mind. Really cool percentages for y'all. On Monday I went 2-1 because there wasn't a lot of people for standard for some reason. I think everybody was really tired from Magic Con Chicago. The record for Monday was 2-1. Then on Tuesday I went 3-0. So I was 5-1 from Monday to Tuesday, and that's playing Standard and Pioneer. Then Wednesday I go play Modern at Nerd Rage Gaming in Buffalo Grove, and I went 1-3. And then yesterday, wait, 1-3? Yeah, yesterday I went 1-3, and then so Wednesday I went 1-3. Thursday I played Modern at the Boards Hat Gaming, and I went 1-2. Yeah, 1-2. And if you take the aggregate of those, it's basically 50-50, right? Because it's I went 5-1 over Monday and Tuesday, and then I went 2-5 on Wednesday and Thursday. And the reason I point that out is I just want to show, if we take the average, right, over all the different formats, I'm 50-50 in games across formats with goblins, which to me is amazing because I'm a 2-2 gamer. I want to go 2-2. If I see 2 wins, 2 losses at the end of the night, that's an amazing thing because I think that the split shows if you have a good matchup and a bad matchup, that's how Magic is supposed to be played. Your deck is supposed to win. If you're playing 4 matches, you win 2, you lose 2. You play 2 good matchups, you play 2 bad matchups. And I think that that's just a great way to play Magic. I call that another day in the office. Let me see. Is there any goblin that draws cards as well as Ringleader and Fable? Draws cards. Yeah, there's a couple goblins that indirectly draw cards. You have to jump through some hoops. There's is it Novice Detective. No, it's not right. There's a 2-mana 2/1 with prowess and haste that when you flip it face up, you discard your hand and draw 3. So that's like that can be decent if you're playing like a prowess version or like a spellslinger version of the deck. I think that the best way probably to draw cards is with Ringleader. Thank you. Fugitive Codebreaker. Yes, that card is really cool. I played a version of Goblins that played like Monstrous Rage and Slickshot and Turn Inside Out, and that deck was pretty cool. You play Fugitive Codebreaker. It's 6 mana to flip it up, and when you flip it up, you discard your hand and draw 3. But if you have like 6, I think it's 6 colorless and a red. So if you have 6 instants or sorceries in your graveyard, it's just 1 mana, draw 3. Feels like the best Bomat Courier in the world. But yeah, besides that, let me think. To draw cards. So it's hard. Are you specifically looking for cards that like draw, like use the word draw, or are you looking for like cards that just give you card advantage? Because there's a lot of goblins that like exile the top card, play it to the end of the next turn if it's a goblin style. We have Horde Master. There's like a couple other ones that aren't as good as doing it, but I think that Horde Master is probably your main source of card advantage. The other really cool thing about Horde Master is the cards that you get from Horde Master, they can't Thoughtseize because technically in exile. But I have lost games because my opponent flashes in an Avid Interrupter and then makes all of my cards in exile cost 2 more. For sure, specifically draw. After this match, I can do a Gatherer search real quick. GG's opponent. Well played. Yeah, I mean, sometimes your opponent's got triple beans, 4 Ley Unbindings, 4 Overlords of the Belmer, or what's this one called? Hauntwoods. And you know what? I will lose to that 1,000 times over. All right, let's do a quick Gatherer search before we jump into the Draw Goblin Gatherer MTG. Goblin plus draw. I love the Gatherer because sometimes I just look through all of the creatures. I feel like a lot of the cards that draw cards are bad. They usually have some effect like this where you have to sacrifice something to do it. Let me zoom in a little bit for y'all. Okay. That card's funny. Yeah, we got a Liege. It's a 4-mana 3/4 that double lords Gruul or doesn't even have to be goblins, creatures. I like Boggart Birthright. Those cards should see more play, but it's just so bad. Shout out to Boggart Harbinger. I really like Boggart Mob. 4-mana, champion a goblin, ETB, exile another goblin you control or sack it, and when it dies, you bring that exile card back. Whenever a goblin you control deals combat damage to a player, you create a 1/1 black goblin rogue. So this is kind of like what I was trying to play this card back in the day, but it's not as good as Seer Slicer. Seer Slicer is 2 mana, it does this ability, and you don't have to sacrifice something. Ram Gang is really funny because it's a it's a 3-mana 3 with Wither. So if your opponent like blocks with a bigger thing, it just gets shrunk. Gotta stay focused. Draw cards. Breaches kind of draws cards because you steal cards off their library, but that's not legal in. So it's in legality. Not legal in standard. However, Eager Pillager is one of my favorite cards in standard. Again, that doesn't draw though. That exiles. We shall find something. Snoop, but that doesn't draw. Just allows you to cast off the top. Same thing off the top. Second artifact to draw. That's really bad. Shout out to Dockside. Rest in peace. I never played this card in Commander because I just didn't want to. I like to do silly things. I don't like to do good things. Earwig Squad is fantastic. So it's 5 mana, 5/3 that does nothing. But if you prowl it, which means if you hit an opponent with a goblin or a rogue, then you can play 3. And when it enters, if you prowled it, you search your opponent's library for 3 cards and exile them. Usually you take like Thassa's, like if you're playing against a combo deck, right? You could take like a Thassa's Oracle, and then you could take like 2 other like you could take like their Haywire Might, or you could take some of their lands because it doesn't say non-land. Back when people didn't play a lot of fetchables, like when Rhinos was really big, you could just Earwig Squad take their fetchable lands out of their deck. Also, against the Cascade decks, I used to play this in the sideboard because they would only play like 3, what are they called? Living Ends? Like the Cascade Living End deck would just play 3 Living Ends. So you just take their Living End out of their deck and they actually concede. I would like to make a Goblin Commander deck. Which Goblin should I select for your Commander? It depends what you're trying to do. Are you trying to... So here, I'm going to go ahead and say that I can't think of any other good Goblins that draw cards. But I'll come back. If I do find any good Goblins that draw cards, I'll make a YouTube short about it. And I'll make sure I tag you in it, David. Yeah, I'll tag you in it, David, when I can find a card that draws. I would say if you're looking for a legend, Lucas, I would either play Goblin Legends. Oh, MTG. Definitely MTG. Yeah, Krenko's definitely like if you're looking for like the Goblin Legend to play, I would say you probably just jam Krenko. A bunch of haste effects, a bunch of impact tremors effects. You can't really go wrong with OG Krenko Mob Boss. 4 mana, 3/3, tap, make X 1/1s goblins, where X is the number of goblins you control. So by itself, I've heard science teachers use Krenko to explain mitosis, how spells just divide over and over and over, like cells divide over and over again. Krenko apparently is the easiest way to get people to understand mitosis. You tap Krenko, you make 1 other goblin, and then you untap and you tap Krenko, and those 2 goblins each split into 4 goblins, and then each of those keep splitting. It's actually the perfect way to show somebody mitosis if you're a kid and you understand magic. I agree. Wart Bogart Ante is the Goblin Legend that I play. It's not the greatest, but it's so much fun. And you don't become arch enemy as soon as you sit down to the table. 4 mana, 3/3 Fear. Beginning your upkeep. Fear just means it can't be blocked by artifacts. Blocked except by artifacts or black creatures. And then at your upkeep, you just pick up a goblin from your hand for free. So you have all these amazing ETBs. You usually have a good sack outlet. You just sack it to the graveyard and pick it up every turn. So you get to do super dumb things like play a Muxus every turn, play a Ringleader every turn, whatever you really want. Besides those 2, I think that like the other like really good ones, if you're trying to make a good deck, is like Muxus. Just straight up play Muxus. It will make you arch enemy, but you can just ramp into it and kind of win. Or another one that you should not play if you're trying not to be arch enemy is Kiki Jiki. Kiki Jiki in your legend spot basically says, hey, I go infinite, kill me before turn 5. One of the coolest decks that I've ever seen for goblins is Ilb Halfheart Goblin Tactician. I played against somebody who had a 99 Mountain Ilb Halfheart Goblin Tactician deck, and the whole deck, it's 4 mana for a 3/2. Whenever a goblin you control becomes blocked, you sack it, and it deals 4 to each creature blocking it. And then you sack 2 mountains to make 2 1/1s. So the whole deck was just get Ilb in play, sack all my lands to make 1/1s, and then just aggro. It didn't really work that often, but it was a funny deck to play against. I see Breaches. Yeah, Breaches from Outlaws and Thunder Junction. Let me see. Where is it? I believe. Is that the blue? Yeah, is it breaches the blast? Is it breaches the blast master? This card is really cool if you build around it. So like this won't go super well in a traditional goblins deck. You're probably not going to play all goblins with this card. 3 mana, 3/3 menace. When you cast your second spell each turn, you may sack an artifact. If you do, flip a coin. When you win the flip, you copy the spell. And then you may choose new targets for the copy. When you lose the flip, it deals damage equal to its CMC to any target. So this is a card that's really good if you're playing like Spellslinger, or if you're playing like a bunch of like bombs. You go like cantrip, important spell, and then you get to like either deal somebody direct damage for the CMC, which if it's like 3+ is worth it, or you get to copy it. So you have like some super high impact spell in Commander and you just copy it. I like this card because it's the 3 mana, 3/3 menace. So you can just like get damage in reliably through a blocker. And also, this coin flip doesn't have a downside. The upside, the downside is you sack an artifact, right? But like you're gonna have a lot of fodder if you're playing Izzet. You're probably gonna be making treasures. You're probably gonna be making tokens. You can go like deduce, draw a card, make a clue. There's a bunch of cards that just give you incidental permanence you can sack to this. And then every time that you sack something, you either dome your opponent for a bunch of damage, or you get to copy something really cool. Krenko plus Sting, the Glinting Dagger. Hell yeah. No, Krenko plus Sting is really good. Another one, if you're looking for mono red, I really like General Kriat. That's the one that we're going to be playing today. General Kriat is 3 mana for a 2/2 legend. Whenever one or more goblins you control attack, you make a 1/1 red goblin creature token, tapped and attacking. And whenever another creature control enters, General Kriat deals 1 damage to each opponent. So if you're playing a full pod of 4, General Kriat will deal equal damage to everybody, so it doesn't feel really bad. It's an Impact Tremors that's on your Rabble Master, so it's just going to pump out a bunch of damage. However, I will say this is the most aggressive legend that you could pick. This may be more scary than Krenko if you sit down and you see it across from you. So I will say, if you play General Kriat, be prepared to be arch enemy and to try to 1v1 the table or 1v3 the table. Besides that, the other like really cool legends that you could play are like Grenzo, Dungeon Warden. This card is like really busted in Legacy. It's 2 mana. You can pay X to put X 1/1 counters on it when it enters. And then 2, put the bottom card of your library in your graveyard. If it's a creature card with power less than or equal to Grenzo's power, put it on the battlefield. So this whole deck really is just creatures that have power like 2, 3, or less. And then you just play Grenzo for 1 extra counter. And you just pay 2 as many times as you can. You just throw cards into play. Besides that, I personally also really like the new Duretti, but it's a build around. It's probably not pure goblins. It's more artifact space. Play casual commander to club university. So I just want to, yeah. If you're just looking for something fun, 1000%. You do breaches. Where's breaches? If you're looking for something fun, and you have this legend. Let's see. Yeah, Wart's really good. Breaches is really good. You said. Let's see. Yeah, Lucas, Breaches is a good deck. David, I think that if you're looking for something just fun and you want to just like play something cool, I would say you can either do, if you have Krenko, just play Krenko. Krenko is so much fun. People will kind of be like, oh no, what are you doing? But you have to just kind of say, one of my favorite things is you have to kill people in order to progress the game. The game otherwise never ends. I had a really smart commander pod back in the day, and one of my favorite people, Connor Domke, used to say, I have to kill you to advance the board state. And that's the truest thing you can possibly say. If you're like, hey, I can't kill you because you're friends, then what are we doing playing the game? It's a game. It's a subset, right? 1000%. You can just play the game, lose a game, play another game. Otherwise, you have to advance the game, and people have to lose in order for the game to end. And it's either me or you, and that's totally fine. It's not a bad thing. I think there are also 2 precons. Yeah, so precons, you're right. So one of them is Mizzix. This is kind of like Breaches, but this is like the most busted version of Breaches. Mizzix is a 4 mana 2/2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value greater than the number of experience counters you have, you get an experience counter. And instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 colorless less to cast for each experience counter you have. So these decks, these next two decks I'm going to show you, Mizzix and Shattergang, are both goblin legends that don't really have to do around goblins. You can throw goblins in the deck, but like the main core of the deck is not going to be goblins. You can have some like cool cards like Gutter Snipe and like Goblin Electromancer in the deck, but you might have a stronger instant and sorcery sub theme than goblins. Precon, so a precon is a pre-built deck that you can buy from Wizards, and they basically have like a built-in synergy package that could like has some cards that are meant to be taken out and flexed in and out. Duretti also is really good. Let me show you that one too. Shattergang is somewhere down here. Yeah, so Shattergang Brothers, another one that came in a precon. 4 mana for a 3/3. You can pay 3 sack a creature, each other player sacks a creature. You can pay 3 sack an artifact, same thing. Or you can pay 3 sack an enchantment, same thing. So it's just a really good way to hit everybody equally. You're not really like getting any hate from somebody. And if you're playing Jund, so you're usually going to have a lot of death triggers. Duretti Planeswalker was one of my favorite precons that I ever bought. I'm not a big fan of precons. Duretti Planeswalker. Not a big fan of precons in general, but this precon was just so much fun. So basically, that's what it looks like. By the way, I just love showing that. Duretti Scrap Savant. So it's 4 mana, 3 loyalty. You can discard up to 2 cards and draw that many cards, and then you can -2 to sack an artifact. If you do return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So what's cool about this card is the -2 is a trigger that goes in the stack, and the sack an artifact is not part of the cost. So the trigger goes in the stack. If they blow up all your artifacts, nothing happens. It's not like Goblin Welder where you can like target it and they kill your artifact and the trigger doesn't happen. So this card's really cool. If you like artifacts, this is the OG Duretti, and I highly recommend this one. Honestly, I would go with any of these. I'd go Duretti. I would go, come on. Shattergang's a good one. But if you want to stick with one color, I would probably either go Krenko. Let me see. If I'm just looking for fun, I really like Wart. Wart is a lot of fun. This is a commander that just allows you to get the most out of your cards. Vial Smashers, like a super high, like played one, but this one is, I think this is too competitive. You're going to see this and people are going to get mad. Tuk Tuk's a really funny one. So a cool thing you can do is you can just like pick a really funny legend and then try to build the deck well. Like you have a worse legend overall, but your deck is very powerful and it kind of like levels out. Zada Hydron Grinder is a really good one. This is basically Pump Spell Central. 4 mana for a 3/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets Zada, only targets Zada, you copy that spell for each other creature you control. The spell could target. Each copy targets a different one of those creatures. So an example, you cast Monstrous Rage targeting Zada. Each other creature that you control gets a Monstrous Rage. Really good, really powerful, and people don't really like value it until they play against it, and they're like, "Holy crap, I just died." So yeah, I'd probably pick like a 4 mana legend. You're not gonna get somebody super scared. And the cool thing about goblins is they're usually really cheap, right? None of these legends are like $1 billion. And I would say they're all pretty equal in like playability and like fun. So there's like a slight bell curve, right? But like nothing insane. And yeah, I would just say follow your heart and have fun, because honestly, at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do. Now let's jump back into it. We're going to play some Brawl, which is basically as close as we can get to EDH on Arena. I enjoy General Create for a couple reasons. Brawl has 25 life, and so you're able to kind of just like jam a bunch of creatures, and the impact side of General Create does so much damage. Also, your opponent has to try to figure out what they are going to use their removal spells on, and usually they're like lightning rods. Your General Create is like a lightning rod for removal, and then you can like hit them with a more powerful spell afterwards. No problem. Thank you so much for talking. I mean, like, I talk about goblins all day by myself, and so having people in the chat asking questions and like creating dialogue means a lot to me. because usually I'm just doing this in a vacuum. All right, we're going to play Inti. Inti's amazing in this deck because it gives your creatures trample. They're probably going to kill it, though, because it's so good. And the great thing about asking questions, like from my perspective, is if somebody's watching the stream, right, and they're watching this as a vlog, and I'm gonna change or like cut it up and put it up as a video because I usually take the vlogs, the live vlogs, and I make them videos on the channel. If somebody's like watching and they have the same question that you did, I got to go through all the answers and work through it. So it helps the community overall. We want to play a 4-drop next turn, so we're kind of just gonna slam our legend. If they have another removal spell, like a Vraska's Contempt, they can just do it. Shout out to Vraska's Contempt, if anybody remembers that card. Ixalan Standard Staple. OG Ixalan Standard Staple. No blocks. I don't want to trade. I think I can race. That's a 4/4 with lifelink and hexproof from instance. I don't think I can race anymore. Actually, that's not true. I take it all back. Here's my Reckless Lackey. Ping. Here's my Breaches. Ping. Reckless Lackey's a pirate, so when I attack with Reckless Lackey, I can target creature can't block, and because it's not hexproof, it's just hexproof from instance, can't block. Smacka. I only have one commander deck. It's Ansrog, the Quake Mole. Oh my god. Yeah, the Quake Mole is so cool. That's a deck that I have a friend who has that deck, and I play like my Goblins deck versus it. That's an arch enemy deck. That's a deck that when you play against it, the whole table goes, okay, we gotta kill this guy. Because you make infinite combats, and like your dude, once you make it indestructible, can just like smack all the creatures in the field. And commander damage with that card is so easy. Like it's such a good deck. And I think that like a deck like that is a good deck. If you only have one good deck, right? Or if you only have one deck, that is a good deck to have. Because those cards are just so strong. Like so strong. And then eventually, right, if you like win a bunch, you might want to do something that's less strong because I don't know. Commander goes in waves, right? You like build a deck and you want to see it succeed, and then you see it succeed, and then it's like too consistent. And then you're like, wait a second, this isn't fun anymore. And then you build a deck that's less good on purpose so that you have something else to do that's not, it doesn't feel as strong. I kind of want to just blow up their land. Is that evil? Gonna blow up their land. Yeah, it makes sense. And so like that's like the beauty of having another deck, right? You play the first game and you do this dumb thing and you like win the game, and then you're like, okay, I'm putting that deck away and now I'm gonna bring out a worse deck. And then they all bring out their better decks. And or you could just keep the deck that you have out, right? And you could like try to make it work. But like usually what I do is I cycle through. I go like high power level, low power level, high power level, low power level. That way it gives other people a chance to win. I have one last question, after which I'll let you play in peace. Never. Don't ever let me play in peace. I would love to talk to you guys until the end of the day. Is Phil Flaggio's Goblin King playmat found in America? I have to look that up because I've never heard of that. Phil Flaggio's. I'm gonna look it up because I love playmats. Phil Flaggio's playmat. Oh my god. This is beautiful. Images. Jesus Christ. They might be Jesus Christ. I'm assuming it's this playmat. This looks amazing. It might just be a Europe thing. And wow, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for for telling me about this. This art is amazing. If I ever have the chance to get one of these, I will 1000% get one of these. I've never seen this before, so it might just be a Europe only thing. I'm not sure. No blocks. Put me to 8, but then I kill you on the crackback. No, because you gain too much life. Probably just play Ogre Battle Driver. Yeah, my chat is always open. If you ever have questions, if you ever want to talk, anybody, if you're watching this video and not live, you can jump in when I'm live and you can ask me any question because I'll talk about goblins all day, every day till the cows come home. 1000%. 3 mana, 2/2 first strike, lifelink, can't be a target of black or red spells your opponents control. I remember when this card was printed and people were freaking out. However, it was like the Lifebane Zombie, which is the other half of this card. It's like Fiend Slayer Paladin, Lifebane Zombie were the two halves. Lifebane Zombie was even better because it was a 3 mana 3/1. With this text, it was basically protection from green and white, and it had lifelink. So it was just insane. No blocks. Take 4. They gain a bunch. Monstrous Rage A. That's pretty good. So this squee will get big, and they'll take damage. And then I'll go to combat, and I'll attack with everything. And then I get an attack and an attack trigger. And then we get 2 more triggers, and then we get 2 more triggers, and we get 2 more triggers. Blocks. Whichever one they first strike, we're not going to do this. Actually, that's not true, because if we make it 3 toughness, it'll survive the first strike damage, and then it will trample over. GG, opponent. Well played. Yeah, we didn't even get to cast our Muxus. Yeah, that's why General Create's so dumb, because like having your impact tremors in your command zone is just so good. I use this playmat. Unstable, very cryptic command. Okay, yeah, I want to look that one up too. Very cryptic command. mtg. Wow. That's beautiful. I think I remember, yeah, I remember seeing this card. There it is. That's the art. Yeah. Very cryptic command. the goblin's just like, smack. Wait, what? That's so funny. Is it this one? Or is it the sketch? It could be the, oh goddamn. It's probably this one. It's just so beautiful. Okay. Probably gonna do 2 more brawls and then we're gonna call it there. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Streaming goblins every day. We're doing YouTube shorts, we're doing streams, we're doing videos. We're on our, so I'm gonna let you in a little secret. So we're trying to grind to 10K. Right now, I know we just hit 1K, but I have to set these goals for myself to keep myself focused. So to get to MagicCon, I told myself that in order to be at MagicCon, I had to get 1,000 subs before MagicCon. And I know that's all you listeners and all you watchers who watch the Goblins content. And you're the reasons why we got to 1,000 subs. But it helps me stay motivated and encouraged when I make these goals. And so the goal right now is 2K, but secretly we're trying to get to 10K. And so if you aren't liking and subscribing these videos, I would really appreciate if you take the time to do that, because every member of the horde matters. And I'm trying to do this more consistently. Yeah, I'm gonna stop yabbering about it. I love goblins, and I'm just happy that y'all are here. We can play aggravated assault and eventually start like pumping a bunch of damage, but I think just getting General Create down, even though they probably have a board wipe, I think getting General Create down, discarding. We can't even activate the aggravated assault, so I guess we just pitch that. Get some damage in. Yep, that's fine. We hit our land. They have 2 mana. Oh, we could have gone Hasty Krenko. That was a mistake. Punt! As is, I think I'm just going to ice down most of their removal. Let's go to combat. I can protect the General Create with this Turn Inside Out or this Monstrous Rage if I really need to. I recently recovered the Aether Drift one with all the art. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that Aether... Recently, there's been so... That's the beautiful thing about Magic is the game. We can all argue about like mechanics and like the set design and all that stuff, but like it's just so nice. The art is always so nice, and as long as they don't drift to AI art, honestly, I don't care. I'm just super excited to keep playing Magic the way it is. So now that they don't really have like they can have like Storm's Wrath, right? But because they don't have like good removal because we've turned off their white sources, I think we kind of just run the Krenko out and we say, hey, we're gonna win when we untap. So don't let us untap. Clock is good. Go to mine. GG's opponent well played. I probably shouldn't be playing Blood Moon, but it's like, come on. It's the only place that I can play Blood Moon in Arena. Like I could play like Timeless, but I don't know. I don't want to spend wild cards on like the cards I need for Timeless. And Brawl, I can just play the bad standard cards that I play. Like, how often do you get to lose to an Orcish Bowmaster? A good old-fashioned Orcish Bowmaster. Because there's a curve where you go turn one Skirk. I guess you don't even need Skirk. You go turn 3 General Kriat, turn 4 Orcish Bowmasters, ping him, attack, make a dude, enters gets buffed. That's an attack, and you ping them again. So that's 2 pings. They go from 25 to 23. Then your General Kriat's coming in for 2, and the token gets a buff from the Orcish Bowmaster. So that's a total of 5. You put them from 23 to 18. Next turn you play a Krenko, you tap, and you literally win the game. If I hit a land, we're in a good spot. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. I know I ran. Oh, there it is, Fugitive Codebreaker. This is the card that I think draws, like, if you're looking for a card that draws the best, I think this is probably the best card we've ever seen from a Goblin that draws cards. It does have hoops, but I played it in just pure mono red Goblins when we didn't play any instants and sorceries, because if we flood really, really, really hard, we can flip it face up. Also, sometimes for 3 mana, you just get a Disguise token. I think Disguise has Ward. I'm not sure. So play this. Our opponent doesn't have a creature. So we're just going to like play the NT because the NT is going to let us loot. We can loot away one of these bad removal spells or breaches if we don't enter land. Opponent's playing Uluk, so this Crater Maker is like the best card. Codebreaker is also like not the greatest here. Scorching Shot also can kill the Uluk, so. Glimpse is good. They're just not going to cast any of these, make 3 Scions. That's kind of fine. We'll go land. General Kriat. I think I really don't want this Fugitive Codebreaker. It's like 1, 2, or 3, and I think this is the worst of all of them. So counter and trample, so they can't jump. Bushwhacker is really good, but it'll be gone. The next best thing I can draw is a land, because then I can go double creature, or I want a chieftain, like a war chief or something. Rabble Master would be amazing too. I mean, that's really good. That's like really, really good. This might be more important to kill now than anything else in their deck. It's just going to let them cast their 3 drops for 1. It's going to let them cast their 5 drops for 3. It's just such a good card. Land is an amazing draw. I think we hold the Crater Maker and the Scorching Shot. And okay. That's good. So we're just going to do that. We're going to pump, give it haste. Then we attack. Pitch this breaches because I don't have another pirate. And I know what that top card is. We'll put a counter on the snoot. Draw. Top card's a battle driver, which is really good. They take it because they want all their mana so they can cast their Titan next turn. Because that's 8, 10 mana they have access to. Play the legend. Draw your second card each turn, create a spawn. See, they have 2 2/1s. Wow. Are they just dead? So we go Scorching Shot here. Goblin Bombardment. Combat. All attack. I would like to pitch this battle driver. Yeah, so I can pitch the battle driver to draw, give trample to my 4/4, sack the 2 1/1s to shoot their 2 blockers, and that's more than 8. Really close game. Good game, opponent. Well played. I can do one more. I feel like I got one more in me, and then I'm going to get ready for the day. Thank you so much for being here with me. It means a lot to me, honestly. Streaming every day. The grind won't stop, baby. The grind till we get to 10K. You have to set your goals to the stars so that when you fail, you land on the moon. Sounds meh, but I'll try it. Leyline of Abundance with a Mythweather Pork. Equal number of lands. Whenever more long token lands enter, conjure a duplicate. That's pretty hot. Play a bunch of 1/1s. Please. Yes, this is 3 mana that they have access to. I mean, that's a 1/1. It's pretty good. This is currently a 2/2. So we go Battle Cry pass as soon as it's our turn. And we're going to really hope that they tap out for their legend and don't have another land to make it bigger, because then we get to wipe the board. And then we have something that can first strike, eat their legend. I think we're in a pretty good spot. I don't know what they're tanking over. They might be thinking whether or not they should play an Elvish Mist or a Land Worlds. Yeah, I was going to say they could be debating whether or not it's worth it to play into a sweeper, but I think that they decide that it's actually like, it's important. Yep. Yep. So now playing so the only reason that you play the Goblin Bombardment is if you think that you can kill the Pawk with the ping trigger. So I'm glad I didn't play towards that, because it wouldn't have happened. As is though they have 1 card in hand. We're gonna have a board, Mountain Chain Whirler. Next turn, if we hit a land, we can go Codebreaker, Bushwhacker. They're probably going to start being aggressive. If they get aggressive, we can race. No. If they get aggressive, we can race. If they don't get aggressive, we have a better late game. Right now, we just get to go, even if we don't hit our land drop. General Create, the following turn, we can go Case, pitch this, draw 2 cards, hit our land drop. Just try to grind. And then, you know, they're going to have a lot of lands. They're going to have a lot of mana. But I think that we just barely get underneath them before they can stabilize. Cobra's good. Nissa Resurgent Animist. So that's 4 mana back. And you get to dig. Gwen is really nice. Okay, we got a good old-fashioned board stall. I like this. I'm glad that Ulamog's not around here anymore, for sure. No blocks. Okay, that was not a good draw. If we're just trying to build. It's weird. It's really weird. We could go case, pitch this, dig for a land, but we don't do anything else this turn. They have 3 cards. We can go General Kriat. We don't do anything else this turn. Attack with the Chain Whirler. Probably push 5 damage. I think that's worth it. So damage. They block a 1/1. Oh, baby. Okay. I feel... Okay. 3 basics. Okay. 6 mana. Wait, what? You conjure what? Non-token lands. It doesn't say non-basic. Wow, so they make 3 more basics? That's very strong. Yeah. I feel like my opponent's kind of comboing off. They probably really wish that this was in play before all that, but I guess they couldn't because they just grabbed it. Yeah. 10 million mana. Oh, and this is OG Vorinclex too. That's crazy. Okay. I see you. No blocks. I can die. Good game, opponent. They deserve that one. We stumbled on mana. They had a really aggressive start, and they had the top end to cap it off. Leyline of Abundance, really good card. I think we can do one more. Let's end it on a positive note. The mono green deck just being able to go a little bit bigger than us. A little bit's an understatement. I play weird decks too. That should be my name. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. I like this a lot. We get to show my opponent what the awesomeness of double impact tremors is. Psych, they take my impact tremors 1000%. If they don't, I don't know. Yep. That makes sense. Scamp lets me kill something with 1 toughness next turn. It's nice that I have a backup 2-drop, though. Sure. Get the damage. Sudden Edict is nice because it has split second. You can't counter it in Legacy. Play my 2 mana 2/1 with haste. Look at this. Look. Wait, what? I swear I put it on the stack. No. Infinite pain. Opponent's probably going to play a creature this turn. I would have already gotten my life or my damage in, my damages. I think in this spot we probably just go matron. Go grab this. We could grab a Muxus. We could grab a ringleader. I think I like a ringleader more though. Muxus could get discarded. Ringleader I could for sure cast next turn. Sure. No blocks. Each player discards. I mean, that's removal. I'm just glad you got rid of removal. Slam this ringleader. I don't know, actually. Play this general create. If we go wide enough, they have to board wipe their own stuff. ETB damage trigger. Go to attacks. Attack trigger. ETB trigger. Damage. Now if they board wipe, we can just go land ringleader or land general create. Hero's downfall, it's good. I would like to take this action. This becomes a 2/1 with trample. No attacks at all. Shows a fear. A fear in their eyes. We play this because next turn we go land both of these. I'll attack with everything, get a guy. Get a damage. Pass to blocks. Eat a 1/1, eat a 2/1. 16. Yep. Trespasser's a good block. Probably swing with Rankle. Ooh, another removal spell. Okay. I would like to do this. Yeah, now they definitely swing. Each player discards a card? No. No modes. They like their last card. So we'll go, here's my ringleader. All those bad cards are on the bottom. Play a fugitive codebreaker, cancel. I'm going to actually try to flip this up. I can go 3. I can flip it up later. Combat. No attacks. End the turn. Jundi. I'm going to lose to the Flyers for sure. I feel so dead. My opponent's going to win this game. 10,000%. Gonna trade right here. So I only take 3 here. Make us discard a card. Make us discard a card. I'll discard this card. That makes sense. Discard a shrine. Oh, they sack Jundi. They get to reanimate something of their choice. What? They didn't Each opponent discards 2 cards. Okay, so they just drained me. Sure. Oh, they pitched my code breaker. That's pretty good. Go to combat, poke. I lose this race to the Hive. Westvale Abbey. It's been a minute since I've seen that. Elspeth's Nightmare kills my War Chief. That's fair. Yep. Draw me a card, please. Yes, they drew me a card. And then it's just discard. That's so strong. Then they lose a life and draw a card. Okay. This doesn't fly. But we can try. If we sack a rat, then it allows us to do something. Thankfully, we don't have a hand, so this does nothing. Tergriz Lantern. Power word kill probably wraps this up pretty cleanly. No blocking here. The rats just don't have the ability to stand up for themselves. They can only run forward and bite. I'll discard this land for sure. Okay. Goblin Chieftain does not buff these rats. Smack them. Good game. Well played, opponent. I will concede. Well, we couldn't get the win on the last game, but we had a pretty good run. General Kriat did some pretty cool things. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna go eat. Probably what am I gonna do? It's Friday. I'm gonna go play Vintage Cube at Boar's Hat Gaming with my buddies. So really appreciate you watching. If you're gonna be back here tomorrow, probably gonna be streaming at starting around 12, 12:30, maybe 1:30 like today. We're trying to get the times nailed down. However, we're gonna be streaming every day no matter what. But I appreciate you watching. Have a beautiful day.